Turn me up.
Just like that, we're back. Usual Section 400, Matt and Brian here in a little two-man edition of the Sunday NFL recap. Jack was boots on the ground for a tough Jaguars loss yesterday or 2 days ago as we're recording this. So, yeah, he is traveling back and just trying to cope with whatever he can cope with on this entirety of the Jaguar season. But Brian and I here to bring you through all the action. Nonetheless, we had a big Thanksgiving holiday last week with a bunch of football. Brian, how was your holiday, man?
Yeah, it was good. And apparently Jack's not only driving back, but he's sick. I don't know if that's from them not firing Doug Peterson yet, if that's from him watching Trevor Lawrence almost die in person, or what it is. But prayers up for Jack. Hopefully he'll be fine. Back for the show on Thursday. But no, I had a great Thanksgiving. The Giants lost, which I guess is a good thing. If you might as well tank for Shador or Travis Hunter or whoever the hell they're going to draft and mess up. But yeah, lots of food, good time. Always nice being up in New Hope and getting some good food, seeing family.
Yeah, man, I second that. Obviously, our families still live in the area, so always nice doing that. Good food as always, and really just some quiet time away from the real work life and just kind of going back to feeling like a kid again is the best way to put it. But it was good stuff. Loved seeing it. And we did get some football. I was traveling to New York as this game was going on, so I didn't see the disaster aspect of it until the end, which I did see. But the Bears ended up firing Matt Eberflus, which means they probably lost that game. As we saw it unfold, the Bears had a real shot to either tie it, win it, or you know, yeah, it was a blunder by the Bears, which is expected, especially under the reins of Matt Eberflus. Brian, your thoughts?
Yeah, I was distracted during this because good old Papa Vic, my grandpa, ended up buying. So my grandma makes these bell pepper filled sausage things for appetizers every Thanksgiving. He ended up buying habanero peppers. So during this whole game, we were just kind of trying not to die from the heat of those peppers. So I didn't see the end of this game, but I saw the highlights. And Matt Eberflus might as well have been eating those peppers because I don't know what he was thinking at the end of this. They had 30 seconds and they didn't call a timeout to do anything. Caleb changes the play at the line of scrimmage and then they just chuck it up.
Dude, my dad was sitting there like, he's like, call timeout. Why are they not calling timeout? Why are they not calling it? What is he doing? Call timeout. Because, you know, as an Eagles fan, as Eagles fans, as my family is, that would have been a huge game if the Bears could have got that win.
Yeah.
And the way they just totally blew that up at the end. Again, you can put it on Eberflus for not calling the timeout. Obviously, Caleb Williams, rookie on Thanksgiving Day, not prepared for that moment, the height of the situation. And it blew up in their face. They should have called the timeout with 40 seconds left or whatever there was on the clock. Had plenty of time to draw up a play or two to get into the field goal range. They don't. They run it down to 10 seconds. Throw a deep pass, time expires. You have a timeout that you bring home with you that does nothing for you. So much went wrong. And the easiest thing to do was just say, hey, Matt Eberflus, like this has been brewing for months, not weeks, months. It's finally time to call it quits. And they got rid of him. I don't know what it's going to solve, but, there's always got to be a fall guy. And it's sure as hell not going to be your rookie number one overall pick quarterback.
Yeah, it took him, and he embarrassed them so much this season from the Hail Mary to just like terrible game after terrible game. It took him embarrassing the team owners in front of their families on Thanksgiving Day for them to finally fire a coach mid-season. And like you said, they had 40 seconds. You call timeout after that first down. You probably have like 4 or 5 plays left.
Where you lot of plays. Like you could have been able to get right over. But look, we'll see where the Bears go from here. The Lions obviously have the best record. Are they the best team? I don't know. Some think that, some don't. But they have the best record. Hold the 1 seed. Would have been a big Bears win. But a coach that seems to not be getting fired this season or in the midseason is Brian Daboll. As the Giants lose again, they might as well be called the Browns.
Honestly.
The Giants lose again on Thanksgiving. I honestly don't want to say it's expected because I haven't been that impressed with Cooper Rush, but they lost, and you guys are just rooting for the April draft at this point.
Yeah, that's really what it is. And this was the Rico Dowdle game. You know, it's really bad when you're letting Rico Dowdle really look like Saquon Barkley on Thanksgiving. I think he finished with like 20 fantasy points. He had an incredible game, and that's not the kind of player he is. But yeah, Malik Neighbors was mad again. He dropped a couple passes. I don't know why he was mad. Maybe he was mad at himself, but this is what the Giants are going to be. Clearly, they're not going to be fun like they were last year when Tommy DeVito won them a couple games. Drew Lock had a nice scramble.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you would want. I would like it. I get it. People say you're a fake fan if you root for them to lose, but like, what does it? You gain nothing from it. You gain nothing from it. You
Yeah,
lose out.
I mean the thing is where last year it was kind of like let's get last so we can grab Caleb Williams, and maybe he wasn't even the right pick. I mean Drake May and Jaden Daniels both look good. This year there's not really. I know Shador is probably going to be the guy at number one, but like him, Cam Ward, or even Quinn Ewers, maybe they'll be good, maybe not. It's not like there's that generational prospect sitting there where like I am begging them to lose every game and get the one pick.
Who was the last generational prospect at quarterback in the draft?
I think people would say Caleb was.
Caleb Williams is a generational pro. Well, they're all comparing him to Patrick Mahomes. So, and you don't think Shadur Sanders? I don't think Cam Ward, but I think Shadur Sanders is at least close. I mean, I almost borderline would put him, with some of the stats he's putting up, put him better.
Maybe I mean, I think he'll be good. I don't know. I'm not sold on him yet, and I'm not an NFL scout by any means, so I could be completely wrong on him, but
Right.
it just doesn't feel like, I don't know. The hype around him doesn't feel the same to me as it did for even Jaden Daniels last year.
Well, all the NFL scouts that watch this program, let us know in the comments if you think Shadir Sanders will be better than Caleb Williams in the National Football League. Let us know below. He's probably going to go top three. He's going to get a shot right away. Yeah, let us know below who's better, Caleb Williams, Shadur Sanders. We'll see how that
The Giants are
transpires
probably
over.
going to draft Ashton Genty. Like we say all this, they're going to draft Ashton Genty, and
They having PTSD from Saquon and just everything that's going on this year with it of him just being a borderline NFL MVP. So they could press the panic button, as we like to call it, and they could go out and grab a running back. I wouldn't be surprised at all, but I think they've made too many mistakes at the quarterback position on just one quarterback to realize, okay, we drafted the guy, bad pick. We then paid the guy, extended the guy, and kept throwing him out there. That's too many L's with one guy that they might just have to try and right the wrongs, right the ship, and give the like you can. How do I word this without sounding like an idiot? You can be more optimistic about an upcoming season with a rookie top three quarterback over a rookie top three running back. Agree or disagree?
yeah, I would agree with that, unless it's Saquon Barkley.
Right, but is Ashton Genty Saquon Barkley?
No, but but he's pretty damn good.
He's pretty damn good, but what I'm saying is you can,
No, if
sell
they
more
drafted
tickets.
Genty, the fan base would riot.
Right. So I think it's going to be a quarterback. I think it has to be a quarterback, whether you think the quarterback's there good or not. That's what they're going to have to do. And look, why not keep losing to kind of guarantee and secure your shot at kind of having your pick of the litter, so to speak, and being able to get your guy and not having to, oh, well, Cam Ward, Shador went, so now you're stuck with taking yours or however that plays out. But obviously, that's a whole Russian roulette crapshoot in itself. But yeah, Giants are a mess. We know that there's nothing new there. But the team that's staying hot, and they didn't have to go to Miami to do it. They invited Miami up to Green Bay. Is the Green Bay Packers red hot right now? Look like the season was going to be in shambles after a loss to the Eagles in Brazil. Jordan Love goes down with an injury. Uh, they've been probably, it's probably the Lions, Eagles. Who's that third team? You're looking at the Packers right there.
Yeah, I think they are that third team, and they look really good. Josh Jacobs is running over people again, even without Romeo Dobbs. They just Tucker Kraft stepped up in this game. It's like Andrew Banster, who we had on for the NFC North preview. None of these guys are getting paid, but they're all good. And
Right.
Jordan Love can just toss them the football, especially during Toyotathon, and they're going to win football games.
Yeah, and it's they're doing it in different ways. Like you said, it doesn't matter what guy they're doing it with. There's multiple pieces on that offense who can get it done. Like you just said, Tucker Kraft had a nice night there on Thursday. Look, huge game. NFC playoff implications this Thursday, where I think it's the Packers and the Lions play. I don't know how many games the Lions are going to have where it's like, oh, they're going to lose this game, but I think this is probably their best shot to lose another game. So I will be tuned into that one and heavily rooting for the Packers. But yeah, that'll be a fun one Thursday night. Probably our best Thursday night football for the rest of the year. I have no idea what the schedule looks like, but knowing the NFL, this seems like it's probably going to be the best Thursday night the rest of the way.
Yeah, and we can go back to Caleb Williams again here, but I understand, I guess, the thinking of making the Bears Lions the Thanksgiving game, like the number one pick and the Bears resurgence, or at least it was supposed to be their resurgence. But how are you going to schedule Packers and Lions, two playoff teams, for the week after Thanksgiving on Thursday? You had it right in front of you. Make that the
I know.
Thanksgiving game.
Yeah, and it's annoying because the Lions always have to play at 12:30, but that would have been an awesome game. Flip them out, put the Cowboys there at the 12 o'clock spot in the who cares game, and prime time 4:30, Packers Lions. I mean, dude, that would have been awesome. I would have been too. I was not tuned into football at all on Thanksgiving, where I feel like I should have been like locked in, where I just every game was like, okay, whatever. Maybe a little bit at the end of that Bears game for the disaster they had, but other than that I was like, oh, whatever. Packers, Dolphins, who cares?
Yeah, I watched the first half of Packers Dolphins, and I was like, all right, this game stinks too.
Nonsense, nonsense. But yeah, definitely not the best showing from the NFL on Thanksgiving this year. But comes with the business. You win some, you lose some. The newest addition to the NFL schedule, Black Friday football. I think it's the newest addition. Maybe you could call the Brazil game, but for Black Friday football, Chiefs win on the Raiders blunder. Brian, seems like you had some chest pains watching this one.
Oh, I had plenty of chest pain. So I was on air on Fantasy Sports Radio for this one, and we did a Turkey Bowl draft. And it was I had Daniel Carlson going up by 1.9 points, and the guy right in front of me had Chiefs defense. Daniel Carlson misses the field goal, and then Aiden O'Connell decides to just drop a snap with 13 seconds left, and the Chiefs somehow sneak away with another win, and I have to take a pie to the face because I came in last in the Turkey Bowl draft.
Did you take the pie to the face yet?
I did, and I did
Is there a
retweet it.
video?
Yeah, there is a
Oh,
video.
you
It's
did
on my
reach it.
Twitter.
So everybody make sure you go check that out on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it now. Brian takes the pie to the face. I have yet to see that video. As soon as we finish this recording, that will be the first thing I look up.
Yeah, it's like 25 degrees on Sunday. I was wearing shorts for some reason, and Rose smacked me in the face with that pie, and it hurt. Like it did not feel great on the
I
face.
felt like a baseball coming out of your face. Was that so? This wasn't at work. You had to take a video of you getting pie to the face, send it in to the guys, and they can all laugh at you through the video. It
Yep.
wasn't on site. It wasn't in studio
No,
pie
I
face.
didn't have to do it on in the studio. That would have been a little humiliating in itself.
Yeah, that would have been pretty nuts, especially like kind of I won't say you're like the newbie there, but like first couple months of the job and immediately get pied in the face in studio would have been totally
Yeah,
ridiculous.
well, not it was my first ever pie bet entry, and I came in last, so it's not a good start for my fantasy acumen, I guess.
No, and maybe a little would that be foreshadowing to a potential tomatoing?
It could be, yeah. Yeah. For those that don't know, our home league here for fantasy, I'm running up the rear. I think I'm in second to last right now, and the last place finisher gets tomatoes thrown at them. So, getting a little worried here.
Hopefully,
It
we'll
has
see how
not been a good
that
football
plays out.
season for me, if you couldn't tell.
No, if I mean, I have the Eagles, and that's about it. But yeah, focusing on the Chiefs and the Raiders here. I mean, what do you see? You saw a close divisional battle where the Raiders are trying to play spoiler. What are they really spoiling as the Chiefs are, I think the clear and outright team that's going to get the one seed, even if they drop a game. But the Chiefs don't look as unstoppable as everybody might call them out to be. I don't really know how to read this because we saw Mahomes last year. What was he, 8-5? going and they're 10-5. Like they had a lot more losses going in the playoffs, and they rolled right through that. They had to do it on the road as well. They'll have home field the whole way to the Super Bowl here. Chiefs are kind of just on autopilot, I think, until the Super Bowl. But I do think the NFC is going to win the Super Bowl, whether that's Detroit or Philly. I don't know, but I think the NFC gets it done this year.
Yeah, I think the trio we talked about with the Packers, the Lions, and the Eagles definitely is better than I guess it would be the Chiefs, the Raven, and I guess now the Steelers, the Chiefs, the Steelers, and the Bills. And the Bills could do it. If there's one year for the Bills to do it, it has to be this year. You're waiting on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs to kind of turn it on. And I don't know if they can wait. I know Mahomes is a magician, and in the playoffs, he's unstoppable, especially at home. But you
Right.
can't play like this for the whole season and then just magically flip a switch. It's kind of like with Justin Tucker in Baltimore. Like you're waiting on him to flip the switch and become an elite kicker again. At some point, you got to throw up some red flags.
It's so hard to see Mahomes losing in the playoffs when he hasn't done it, right? Like
Yeah.
he keeps going in, people continue to bet against him, and he gets it done. I mean, like they're going for a three-peat this year. He's already got three Super Bowls. I mean, they've been on. What's Mahomes already been to? Five Super Bowls, and he's won three of them. Or is he four?
Four is three and
Okay,
one.
four. So he only lost to one. Um, I know it's to Brady of all people, so it's not
Yep.
even like it was like a schmuck loss. But yeah, I mean, look, the three teams for me, and it's obviously because it's obvious on paper right now, is the Lions, the Eagles, and the Chiefs. Chiefs and the Lions, the two best records. I personally believe, I think the two best teams in football, roster wise, the way they're playing, just, you know, unstoppableness, if that's even a word, is the Eagles and the Lions. Lions and Eagles, interchangeable, and then the Chiefs. So that's my, 2 month out prediction that, one of those teams are probably going to, or not even one of those. I think the Lions or the Eagles are the ones winning the Super Bowl. The NFC gets it done. That's just how I'm kind of reading it right now as we're getting real close to playoffs.
Yeah, and I don't hate that at all. But we'll see. If this is the year someone's going to take down Mahomes, I feel like it. Or if there is a year someone's going to take down Mahomes, this feels like the year.
Yeah, it definitely does. And Josh Allen and the Bills seem like that team that finally can get it done. They're playing unstoppable football as well. Josh Allen also just kind of getting engaged over the weekend too, so he's got that mojo going. Trying to, the Allen engagement phase, a very popular. What was it, Haley Steinfeld or whatever her name is he
Yeah.
engaged to? I don't
Yep.
even know her name, but very famous. So he's trying to steal some of that Travis Kelsey, Taylor Swift light. I see what you're doing, Josh. Yeah, I know what he's doing. He's playing the game. He said, I can't beat him, so I'm going to play with him. And that's what he's doing.
Yeah. Hell of a weekend, or I guess a week for Josh Allen. Thanksgiving, and then he gets to play in a snow game. 12th player in NFL history to catch a touchdown, rush for a touchdown, and pass for a touchdown in a game. Then he gets engaged. Like,
A hell of a weekend, like you said. Nothing short of amazing. But yeah, congrats to their engagement. We will obviously get to the snow game, as it's now famously called so quick after, in just a little bit here. But before we do, we have a full 1 o'clock slate to get through. And as always, it's going to be presented by our friends over at SeatGeek. Quick word from them, and we'll jump into the Texans and Jags.
the weather may be getting cold late in the year, but the sports action is heating up. With the final stretch of the football season upon us and basketball season now here, the only place to go for the best tickets for each game is SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the official sponsor of the Views from Section 400 podcast, and whether you're looking to sit courtside of the Sixers game, find a last-minute deal up in Section 400 for the Iron Bowl, or looking to just cheer on your alma mater in a preseason basketball tournament, SeatGeek's one-of-a-kind system helps you find the best deal for the best seats in the house. Use code VIEWSFROM400 at checkout for $20 off your first purchase. Again, that's code VIEWSFROM400 at checkout for $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek, your best night ever is waiting.
Thanks to SeatGeek for that quick word. We'll jump into the Texans and Jaguars, where it's unfortunate Jack got sick. Again, we don't know the cause of the sickness, but unfortunate that he did get sick because he would have had a lot of good stuff to say on this because he was boots on the ground. Unfortunately, not on for this one. But the only takeaway I have is, people have been saying the Texans are falling off, and Texans this, Texans that, but they got by narrowly. Look, it was a road divisional game. Those are always tough. They got the win. That's all they needed to do. And CJ Stroud threw for 242 yards and a touchdown. Joe Mixon rushed for 100 and had a touchdown as well. I think their offense at least is trending somewhat in the right direction, and the defense, will figure it out. So a lot of people I feel like are pressing the panic button on the Texans, and I don't think you need to do it just yet.
Yeah, as long as Nico Collins stays healthy, CJ Stroud and this offense will be fine. And I say fine a little hesitantly because I don't know if they're going to be as explosive as we saw them last year. But I mean, they're good enough to win a playoff game, and they'll get the first game at home because this division is such just terrible,
Right.
terrible. But I don't know if they'll be good. CJ Stroud's gonna have to play the game of his life if they're gonna beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead or the Bills up in Orchard Park. I don't know if the roster is there. And Al Shazier, who almost murdered Trevor Lawrence, is probably gonna be out for the rest of the year. I can't imagine he'll be not suspended after that.
Yeah, I actually, I saw all the buzz around it. I saw his post-game apology and comments on the situation, but I actually didn't see the hit. I even saw the post hit of the big fight on the sideline, but I didn't see the specific hit. I'm assuming it's that bad if you're saying this guy's going to be out for the rest of the year.
Yeah, so I might sound like I don't know, maybe a prick is the right word, but the way I looked at it, at least in full speed, it looked like any other bad hit. People were talking about it like it was the worst hit in NFL history. It looked like any other bad hit where the quarterback slides and then gets hit in the head. And Trevor had the whole like Tua, whereas I forget what they call it. It's the mantis pose or something, where his hand goes up and kind of like it was bad. He's clearly concussed and it's a bad concussion, but it didn't
Right.
look like the worst hit of all time. It was a bad hit. It was bad, but it wasn't like people were calling for him
Not
to get barred from the NFL for life.
really.
Yeah, and I don't think it was. He also leads the team in tackles, so if he does get suspended for the rest of the year, that's a big loss for them.
That's definitely a big loss. We'll see what transpires. The NFL usually comes down and cracks down and makes their disciplinary decisions relatively quickly. So I think over the next, maybe 24, 48 hours, we'll have a verdict on what they end up doing with him. But yeah, the Jaguars, I mean, are they going to sit out Trevor Lawrence the rest of the year? He's not going to play this upcoming weekend.
Yeah, you might as well. And there's really you have Mac Jones didn't look terrible in this game. He threw for a lot of yards, which makes, if Trevor Lawrence would have played the whole game, maybe the Jaguars end up winning this. But yeah, there's no reason to play him. You just get ready for next year. Maybe draft Travis Hunter and then go from there.
I think Travis Hunter is right where they need to be for a pick. It's kind of a blessing for the Giants because the Jaguars are going to be right there, and the Jaguars, or you think the Jaguars aren't going to draft a quarterback now. If they pull some
There's no way.
honestly Eagles shit, there was no way the Eagles were going to draft Jalen Hurts, and they did.
Yeah.
Granted, second round, early second round, basically was like that basically a first round pick. It was like the first or second pick of the second round. Look, I think there's no way they do it at like in a top 3 spot. You never know. Owner could come in and say, "Hey, look, we're done with Trevor Lawrence. Get him out of here, and let's redirect our franchise mission here." But no, I don't think they're going to do it. And like I said, it's a blessing for the Giants because they're going to want that quarterback if they're in the top 3. And there's what 2 quarterbacks to pick from that are going to be there.
Yeah, it'll be Shador and Cam Ward will probably go in the first
Will
5
be
picks, you would think.
right.
And maybe, I mean, Quinn Ewers has not been looking great for Texas. So
No, I have him maybe late, like top 10 late, like 8, 9, or 10. And then I have those Cam Ward. I have Shador, the first quarterback off the board right now. That's the
yeah,
bottom line. Second, Cam Ward. I think Shador. I think Travis Hunter should go first and be the Jaguars. Then Giants will grab Shador at 2, and then I don't know where 3, 4 goes, and then maybe Cam Ward is that 4 to 6 range, and then Ewers at that 8, 9, 10 range. That's just how I'm thinking right now. They could get super like I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but it could be like Shador goes at 2 and then like 3, 4 quarterbacks start flying off the board. That's how we see these NFL drafts go sometimes.
Yeah, you saw it with Bo Nix and then Michael Penix last year.
Right. So once one drops, they as the saying goes, the dominoes all fall. They could go back to back to back, just start grabbing them up. But we'll see how that plays out. A lot of NFL draft speculation on this show, but it's starting to become very real for these bottom feeders of the NFL. But another team who seems to have their quarterback for the future, but also in that bottom feeder mode right now and until better days come with maybe some better receivers. But the Patriots should have snuck out a win. They didn't. They lose to the Colts 25-24. Anthony Richardson keeps some life, keeps some sort of life going forward for the rest of the year and probably going to be the quarterback next year as well.
Yeah, everyone loves to talk about the Bears kind of finding ways to lose games. The Patriots keep finding ways to lose these games. And I guess they've won a few close ones, so that's kind of what's gotten them over the hump.
They've won a few close ones, and it's more expected.
Yeah. There was
The
no
Bears have all the talent on offense, the rookie quarterback, first overall pick, and a very good defense. That they had no excuse. The Patriots, like top to bottom, is just the Bears roster, at least on paper, is miles better than the Patriots. But if they played a game, it would probably not be the Bears winning by a mile. Did they play this year? I don't think so.
I don't think they have, but in a hypothetical, if the Patriots play the Bears in Foxborough, I could see they might be favored in that game at this point in the season.
Right. So
they did play. The Patriots beat them.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, there you go, right there. So we say the Patriots, but they're expected to lose those games, and like you said, they beat out the teams who also find ways to lose games.
Yeah, it's I guess I want to say both these teams are dead, but all of a sudden the Colts are right there in the playoff picture. But they're right behind the Broncos. The Colts are 6-7. The Broncos are 7-5. The Chargers are 8-4, so they're not going to catch the Chargers, but like they can catch the Broncos, and we can see Anthony Richardson in the playoffs.
They were my sneaky team. It was the Colts and the Cardinals were my two sneaky teams to make the playoffs this year. Cardinals obviously kind of falling apart. Yeah, we'll get to them in a little bit, but yeah, the Colts stay alive. They needed that was like that 2-point conversion was. Does the season continue for a playoff push? Do we go to tank mode? On one play is what that kind of meant for the rest of the Colts season. They got the 2-point conversion, and now, yeah, absolutely. Go for it. Get your young quarterback some playoff experience. So we'll see how that goes down. But a game that I didn't watch a lot of, but I wanted to really rip on you and Jack for because the Falcons drop another one, 17-13 against the Chargers. LA comes across country to handle the Chargers in Atlanta and really make Kirk Cousins look like not a $100 million quarterback. 4 interceptions. I talked about it a couple weeks ago about Jared Goff throwing 4 picks. What do you have to say for yourself now, Brian? I hate that you're the only one who has to answer for it, but yeah, I mean, you guys had this as your second best team in the NFC.
Well, they were, and then Kirk Cousins just decided to stop playing good football. This is his 15th career pick six. He's one away from entering the top 25 all time. He'll probably get there, unless the Falcons decide to pull the plug and start our guy next week. Which honestly, you can't get much worse than the way Kirk Cousins is playing right now. So why not go with Penix?
You see these GMs make these moves again. I bring up the Eagles with Jalen Hurts, and you're like, why the hell did they draft a quarterback there? Just signed another guy to a huge deal. Why'd you draft him? It's looking like, dude, like if it keeps trending like this, what's he on, a 2-year deal, 3-year deal?
I think
there's got to be some kind of opt out after this year.
Yeah, I thought it was 4, and it's an opt out after 2, but it could be 2 with an opt out after 1.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but it's really bad. I think in his last 3 games, he has 1 touchdown and 6 picks. It's like
definitely not the second best team, and obviously, not, I mean, are they even going to win that division?
They're still in it because the both Souths are just terrible mosh pits of mediocrity. But The Bucks did win, so I believe they're in first place now. I'm
Like
looking it up right
the
now. The Falcons are still in first at 6-6, and the Bucks are. I guess they have the head-to-head over the Bucks. But
well,
yeah,
the Bucks
it's
got Mike
gross.
Evans back, right?
They did, and he had a big game, and we'll get to that.
Yeah, he had a
But
huge game. Yeah, I mean, look, the Falcons, you can't even say they're dead in the water because they're technically still in first place. I think that's the bigger picture is that both the AFC and the NFC South divisions, both respective conferences, are both horrible. You say mediocrity, I don't even think it's that. I think that's like a nice way of putting it. They are horrible.
yeah, I think the NFC South is a little bit better than the AFC South, but they're both terrible.
Like the Texans are the best team out of both divisions, but like I think I would say like the Falcons, Bucks, and Saints are all better than the Titans are garbage, the Jaguars are garbage, and I don't even know who the third team is. Oh, the Colts. Eh,
Yeah, the Colts playing well lately is kind of saving that division, but like I mean, Jack and I went through this hypothetical where if you do an AFC South All-Star team, do they beat the Lions or the Chiefs? I really don't know.
yes, yes, they do. They do. Jack said it. I shouldn't have to reiterate this or repeat this. It's an NFL team. So combining two NFL teams to take on one NFL team. Now, could it be a close game? I guess sure, it could be a close game, but I think the combined NFL team takes home the dub. But maybe you have a better scenario for combining the Patriots and the Panthers. Would be the teams you'd have to combine. But yeah, that's never going to happen. We know that, and no point in going down a rabbit hole on that one. All we know is the Falcons are not as good as they've been advertised as in training camp all off season. The first couple of weeks, they knocked the Eagles off on the road, 6-6, and Kirk Cousins looks like he's playing his way out of Atlanta.
Yeah, it's not good. But we should give some credit for the Chargers. Their best 12 game start since 2018 when Anthony Lynn was the head coach. That seems like longer than 2018, but yeah,
It
they
just
look good.
shows you. It shows you how long they let Brandon Staley stink up a storm out there in LA.
Yeah, that it's incredible how long he was.
It was like three too many years.
It's after that loss to the Jaguars in the playoffs, he should have been gone. But you
Yeah,
can't
and they
fire
let
him because it's yeah, we made the playoffs.
right. It was bad all around. The guy looked like a deer in the headlights, and yeah, just not a very good head football coach. But yeah, the only other I know you had the bullet in there, Lad McConkey. He could be a real fantasy playoff winner this upcoming playoff season, and he's stashed away on my team, who will not be making the playoffs.
Yeah, but I might have to fight off you in the Tomato Bowl, and I'm afraid of Lad McConkey ruining. He already ruined enough of my days when he was at Georgia playing Auburn. But yeah, he looks like the best receiver Herbert has had since Keenan Allen, and he hasn't had many good receivers, so I'm happy for Herbert.
No, yeah, it finally got a good guy to throw to. It looks like a hard worker, runs the right routes. Just finds the open seams in the zone coverages. Just seems like a grinding kind of guy that'll just pad the stat sheet and always be there for Herbert. So, like you said, I'm glad he found somebody who he can maybe rely on.
Yeah, sneaky, athletic, football, gritty guy.
White receivers, it's what they are, right?
Yeah, who knows? Maybe Herbert can become the next Tom Brady, and they just keep drafting these small white receivers.
Yeah, I won't get that far ahead, but maybe. What are we jumping into next, Brian? We got the Seahawks and the Jets. Jets up 21-7 in this game or something like that, and completely fall apart at the end. But Seattle gets the big win that keeps them atop of the NFC West, which is sneakily it should be in that conversation of bad divisions.
I don't know what to think of that division, but yeah, the Seahawks are in first, and Geno Smith got his revenge. Posted the meme of the hater at or the guy at his hater's funeral after the win, and yeah, the Jets are dead, and the Seahawks are alive. This was an ugly game. I woke up from a nap, and it was a first and goal from the two, And they had 7 plays because of penalties, and the Seahawks could not punch it in the end zone. And then they ended up winning anyway because Aaron Rodgers just is not good at football anymore. This game was weird. But I do remember asking you guys a question of which team would win more games in October, the Mets or the Jets. And we have our answer to that question. It was the Mets. In the last 50 days, the Yankees have won 5 games, the Mets have won 2 games, the Jets have won 1 game, and the Giants have won 0 games.
That's incredible. That's incredible considering the what the Mets play. 4 games? Or like,
They
nah, they
played,
played a little more.
I think the game one was still, no, the whole NLCS was in October. So yeah, they played 6 games and they lost 4-2 to the Dodgers.
Yeah, but then October also was the NLDS and the wild card round. So didn't they win a lot more?
I think the last day of September, or they clinched the game over the Phillies was like the second to last or last day of September.
In the playoffs?
Yeah.
It absolutely was not. 0% chance. But either way, it's only further fueling your point of the Mets had way more wins.
It was early October. So yeah, even more.
But it also is like, the Jets don't have that many opportunities. So, but the point stands. It's more funny as the Giants have 0.
Yep. Yeah, that's I think the Giants' last win was early. So they started what? 2-3, 2-4. They weren't terrible.
No, well, everybody didn't know what the Vikings. They were like Sam Darnold coming back to MetLife. Giants are going to go 1-0. And was that week 1? I think that was week 1.
Yeah, they lost to the Vikings in week 1.
And they lost that game, and they lost the Commanders.
Yeah, their last win was October 6th against Seattle when they had that blocked field goal.
So they do have a win in October.
Yeah, this was last 50 days.
Oh, last 50 days, which, okay, I guess doesn't really. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Either way, somehow the Mets make it into a December podcast, and yeah, have more wins over the last 50 days than the Jets and the Giants. Now we can also what more fuels it is the Jets and the Giants combined have less wins than the Mets in the last 50 days. As I think about it, you can't say all New York teams because the Bills have been lights out.
Yeah, and most of the Bills fans are probably Blue Jays fans who have their own issues right now. So no one's happy in New York. I guess the Bills.
Nobody.
Bills fans are probably happier about the Bills than they are sad about the Blue Jays, but
right. But I do know there's a big, obviously, Blue Jay pull up there, and I think you're exactly right. I mean, they're a dumpster fire in themselves. So, all those young guys giving out contracts, and nothing seems to be going right for them, like at all. So, give and take in the sports world. But as we roll on here, Titans Commanders, this was a get back on track game. You don't need to spend too much time on it. The Commanders 42, Titans 19, Jaden Daniels 4 total touchdowns. Like I said, get back on track. Titans stink. I'm still not sold on the Commanders. They've shown their true colors against good teams. They had to beat the Bears, who stink, on a Hail Mary on the last second. Okay, they won 42-19 against another bad football team. Good for them. They stay alive in the top of the playoff hunt, but other than that, it's I got to see some more.
The Commanders are a team. They're gonna have a really fun Super Wildcard Weekend game at like 1 p.m. on Saturday on ESPN. And maybe they'll win, maybe they'll lose, but they're not making it past there most likely. But
what does that Super Wildcard look like right now? Is it a 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 8 o'clock game?
I think they do. I said 1 o'clock on Saturday. I think it's the 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. on Saturday, and then they do.
Yeah, they go 4, 8, and then they go 1, 4, 8, and then Monday night they do an 8 o'clock game.
Yeah, they maybe. They probably, the NFL doesn't care about other sports. I was thinking maybe they change it up with the college football playoff games, but probably not.
I don't know. I think if anything, it would be other leagues trying to work their way around the NFL, because the NFL still dominates, viewership and things like that. But
yeah. Just quick note here on Jaden Daniels, because anytime I can praise him, I will. He got his 5th rushing touchdown in this game. He needs 2 more to enter the top 3 all time by a quarterback. Could tie RG3 and Vince Young. And then Josh Allen had 8, and Cam Newton had 14 to lead the list. So I don't think he's getting to 14. He only has 5
What,
right
that's
now.
rookies?
Yep.
I was going to say, what's Jalen Hurts at? But I know he kind of like half played his rookie year, so I'm just assuming they're counting that.
Yeah, I think he might be tied at 5 right now with Jaden. But
And
yeah,
he didn't even get a full year. Imagine
no.
he played a full year as a rookie.
Yeah.
I think he would have that record, especially some of those horrendous running backs they had early on.
Yeah, if he had the tush push as a rookie, he definitely would have beaten that Cam Newton 14 number.
And it's not even all the tush push, dude. I mean, he's getting it in other ways. Tush push helped, sure, but I
Yeah,
mean, the guy
yeah,
can
but
use his legs.
14 is a lot.
14 is a lot. I don't know that anybody's beating that, but what's also a lot is the amount of total points that were scored in the Steelers and Bengals game on Sunday, a game that you didn't expect to be this crazy of a shootout. Yes. When's the last time you saw the Steelers drop 40 plus points?
The freaking Cincinnati Bengals, man. This team is just giving me a headache all year, and I'm happy I could finally put them to bed. But yeah, Russell Wilson scoring 44 points in the year 2024 is just ridiculous.
Ridiculous. And I'm glad you finally come to your senses. I came to them probably a month and a half, 2 months ago that this Bengals team was not good enough. And, I know you had them as your Super Bowl winner. Not only are they not a Super Bowl winner, probably not going to make the playoffs.
No, yeah, this is their 8th loss. They're going to need to run the table and get help, but it's really bad. Russell Wilson is second most passing yards of his career. He had 414. His most was in 2017 against the Texans. Paul Richardson caught 2 touchdowns in that game, and Will Fuller caught 2 for the Texans in that game too. So that's how
Oh
long
my
it's
gosh,
been
Will
since
Fuller,
Russell
dude.
Wilson has done this.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Joe Burrow is the second quarterback in NFL history to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in 3 straight games and lose all 3 of those games.
Now, where's he at on his random fake line that you came up with of 34 and a half touchdowns?
He's got 30, so he'll get
Yeah,
there.
so he'll get to 34 and a half. What was looking really dicey in the beginning of the year. I still think that's a bad line. That should have been set a little higher. But that's why I take the over on the bad lines. I just had to do it out of spite. But anyway, yeah, the Bengals are not going to make the playoffs. Is that a guarantee, or you're going to cling on to 1% hope?
The schedule's still soft, so they could run the table, but
Oh,
like
here we go.
I'm not gonna waste my breath trying to. This defense is so comically bad. Joe Burrow is having an MVP type season, but his defense is so bad he can't win enough games to be in that conversation. He has 30 touchdowns and 5 picks. He leads the league in passing yards.
Yeah, and the reporters post game were not pressing him, but asking him those annoying questions that you don't want to be asked after a game like that. And if I'm Joe Burrow, and again, it's so tough because he has to be a little censored so he doesn't say the wrong thing about like whatever. But it's like, bro, I scored 38 points. What
Yeah.
do you want me to do? This isn't my fault. Obviously, you can't say that because then he's completely just calling the defense bad, which is what it is. But obviously, as a good teammate, leader of the team, you can't just put your defense on blast like that. But these guys are asking questions like Joe Burrow is the issue. And, 38 points and 3 touchdowns. And Jamar Chase is having, I think, a career year, or if not, like tying it. The offense isn't really the issue here.
I'm just so sick of watching this team let me down on Sunday. It's just even no none of my football teams are good, and it really hurts.
It's ironic because I know that's an Auburn Tigers hat, but it sure as hell looks like a Cincinnati Bengals hat.
Yeah, might as well be. They're both just equally bad, and all I wanted was an Auburn Bulmus episode, and at least the Bengals to make the playoffs. And I won't even have that to cheer for coming up here.
Yeah, because Auburn only 5 wins, right?
Yeah, they needed that Iron Bowl win. Well, they
They
really
need,
needed to beat Vanderbilt at home, and they couldn't manage that.
they needed to beat Vanderbilt. They could have beat Cal. They could have beat Oklahoma. I mean,
Yep.
there's a couple losses in there that they probably should have won, and they didn't get it done.
Yeah, it's a mess. But a team that somehow got it done again, the Vikings beat the Cardinals, who of course now have Daniel Jones sitting in a hotel room learning the playbook. But Sam Darnold, game-winning touchdown under a minute left against the Cardinals.
Are the Vikings this good? Are they really this good, or are they just getting lucky with these crazy wins? I mean, I said Lions, Eagles, Packers, and I wasn't even thinking about the Vikings. Am I wrong, or are we pricing this team accurately, regardless of what the record is?
See, I feel so bad for Vikings fans because I'm gonna say we're not wrong and they are frauds. But then, of course, Vikings fans are going to come back and say, well, last time when you guys said we were frauds, it was the defense. And now we have a good defense. So what's the problem now? The problem now is it's Sam Darnold. And I know Kirk Cousins wasn't exactly an elite quarterback, but Sam Darnold is not even on Kirk Cousins level, who the Kirk Cousins we're talking about might get benched now. It's I don't know. Aaron Jones is starting to fumble the football too much. Sam Darnold has had problems with interceptions. Justin Jefferson, even though he's averaging like 80 yards a game, has not been Super Saiyan Justin Jefferson. They're going to be a playoff team. They're going to have a home, I think. Maybe they'll have to be on the road for the play. They should get that one seed, but if the Packers are not one seed, but the first wild card seed, I I just don't see it. I don't see a path for the Vikings to make something happen.
I think there's better teams. And look, I wasn't sold on Sam Darnold in the regular season, and I'm sure as hell not sold on him in the playoffs. So look, I get it. They're having a really, really, really good year, but it's almost like just one of those teams where you see them with what their record is, and you're like, this team is not as good as what this record is. And I know it's all your record is what your record is, but they just do not feel like they should be 10-2 or whatever the crazy record they have is.
Yeah, I think the big difference here from the last time when the Giants beat them in the playoffs, that team kind of felt like they got extremely lucky, shouldn't have won these one score games, and they were kind of on the out. The window was on the out. Now you have a good defense, a solid coaching staff, and you're going to bring in JJ McCarthy, who you're hoping can be your franchise quarterback. I think you're in a much better spot if you're a Vikings fan than maybe you were after in that playoff run when they lost to the Giants. Maybe it's a type of transition year thing where you get one gimmick and maybe you strike gold, but I would just make sure if you're a Vikings fan, don't get your hopes up too much. But the future is looking bright in Minnesota.
The future is definitely looking bright. We don't know what JJ McCarthy is. They have a placeholder. Is that fair to call
Yeah.
Sam Darnold a placeholder? A good placeholder, I guess we can. I mean, 10 wins is 10 wins. We'll give them credit for that. I like the head coach, like what they've been able to do. They've been winning games, and that's all you have to do. But um, it just feels like, are they going to be able to get it done in a big time playoff mode? They'll, maybe they do, maybe they don't. But some tricky games down the stretch for them as well. We'll see how it goes. Still not fully 100%. And I mean, look, realistically, they should have lost that game yesterday, and we shouldn't even be talking about them being this crazy 10-win team. So it is what it is. It was what it was. And look, we have to deal with the Vikings and Sam Darnold being a pesky threat in the NFC. But a pesky threat is, I think that's all it is. And I don't think they fulfill on that nickname of actually being the threat.
Yeah, if Sam Darnold plays his A game throughout the playoffs, the Vikings have a chance to maybe make a run and win a couple games, but I just don't see a world where he plays his A game. He needs to play his A game, and he needs the opposing quarterback to play like a C plus, B minus game.
Right. I agree. I couldn't agree more. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Look, I mean, they have a nice team, like we said, Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson, and Sam Darnold. Can those three guys will that offense? They will to the playoffs. How far they go is yet to be seen. But we'll wait and see because, like we said, some games they should have lost that they won. You don't get that lucky in the playoffs.
Yeah, you don't. And a team that will probably, well, you're going to say has Super Bowl aspirations. I think it's safe to say they do have Super Bowl aspiration. The Eagles beat the Ravens. But before we get to these late games, they are presented by Bolmus, which, by the way, is this month. The 12 Days of Bolmus is back. We got 12 episodes in 12 days featuring familiar guests and some new ones. It all starts 2 weeks from today on Monday. I guess 2 weeks from yesterday on Monday, November 16th.
Bolmus is back. Not only is it back, it's here. Can't wait to get into it because, That was a great training camp we had last year for it because, oh my Lord, the schedule this year is unbelievable. I'm glad we had the trial run because we're going to hit the ground running with all the football we get for mid-December all the way through the new year.
Yeah, it's a loaded schedule of football, and I cannot wait to get into
It's
it. But
going to be awesome.
before we have that loaded schedule of football, the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Ravens.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I mean, I'm allowed to be biased and say they're the best team in the NFL. They've looked like that over the last 8 games, as they're 8-0, or as better known as the Baldiani era. He didn't have the bald head, but he has the nickname, the gimmick. It's the year of gimmicks, 2024. It's the year of gimmicks, and it seems like if your team gets the gimmick, they're going to go far. The Eagles have that going on right now. And look, they're finding ways to get it done. Saquon, struggled a little bit in the first half, had that fumble, kind of fueled him up a little bit to be better. He was great. Down Devonta Smith, AJ Brown had a nice game. Not a great game, but a nice game. Jalen Hurts turning into a very good game manager, which is not talked about a lot. We're talked about he's the one doing it all. If they can bring it all the way to New Orleans and win the Super Bowl down there, I am fine with Jalen Hurts being the game manager, and I have no issue with that at all. But the biggest thing about this team right now is them having probably the best team in the NFL, or the best defense in the NFL. I mean, that defense is unbelievable. He talked about the D-line needing to clean it up and get better pressure. They have. Zach Bond is looking like an all-pro linebacker. Nakobe Dean coming into life. Cooper DeJean, oh my Lord. Quinyon Mitchell is, best rookie. Oh, he might be the best cornerback in football. I don't know that anybody's ready for that conversation. And I should probably be going a little more crazier, but I won't, because I said this back in April when I had that walk in South Philly and I posted it on our socials account. I said, oh my gosh, how does the NFL let Howie Roseman get that guy Quinyon Mitchell at 22? The absolute steal of the draft. They loaded up with Cooper DeJean, and they probably have the best defense in football. Brian and Jack laughed me on the show off the show for months. Laughed. They said, how can you even call them the best defense? This, that, and the third. And look at where we are, 10-2. Sure, the Lions are there at 11-1, but the Eagles look like the bigger threat of the NFC over the Lions, in my opinion, and I don't think that that's a crazy take to have.
Yeah, I think that's a fair take to have. I still disagree. I think the Lions are better. The Eagles definitely do have the better defense. And that's why this NFC championship matchup that I really hope we get would be so. You'd have an all-time great offense against what is becoming an all-time great defense. And yeah, Cooper DeJean is not a safety. He is a corner that will lock down your number one. And Quinyon Mitchell, he's going to be an all-pro. He might be a first-team all-pro. Eagles are really good, and it's scary. But again, we have a Ravens game where you can directly look at this score and say Justin Tucker probably lost the Baltimore Ravens the football game. And that's a big issue.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Tucker, look, he missed one. Okay, great. Like, kickers miss it. But, like, this guy, it's like consecutive kicks, dude. Like, and kicks that this guy has been known to hit. I don't think he's lost the leg power. I don't think he's lost the accuracy. I think he just has a classic case of the yips.
Yep.
And he's in his head way too much, and he's overthinking the shit out of it. And I think he's still a great kicker. I think he still can be a great kicker, and I think he still has all the athletic ability that we've seen over the last 10 years of Justin Tucker. I think it's just like, he's in his head. And once these guys get in their head, especially kicking the football, which is, probably the number one spot where you once you get in your head, it's damn tough to get out. But that's what we're seeing out of Justin Tucker. I don't think he's just like a bad kicker now. I think, he got in his head a little bit, and it's going to be really tough for him to get out, as we've seen with multiple consecutive missed kicks. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how you get him to, because you can't really bench him. I don't think that'll help his psyche.
No, it won't.
But like maybe you run a fake field goal one of these times and get him to throw a touchdown pass to one of your a million backup tight ends, and that helps him. Yips. I don't know what you do, but the Baltimore Ravens over the past decade, once they cross like the 45, you're like, all right, they're probably going to score on this drive just because Justin Tucker can hit from anywhere. I mean, we were taking props last year on Justin Tucker to hit 60-yard field goals. And like half joking
Yeah.
about it, but we're like, yeah, Justin Tucker will probably hit a 65-yarder in this game. And now you're worried about him making an extra point.
There's no answer to it, Brian. There's
Yeah,
no
it's
answer to it. It's, you know, the way it's trending is the Ravens are just going to be that team that probably loses to the Chiefs or the Bills in the divisional round, and that's just that.
yeah, you need Justin Tucker to be Justin Tucker if you have any hopes of making it to the Super Bowl here.
You absolutely do. Couldn't agree more. Let's quickly get through these next couple before we jump into the Sunday night game here. But just last thing, I mean, I have the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. I hope we get Eagles Lions. That will be the ultimate dream. I mean, even for just NFL fans in general. I mean, that NFC Championship game would be wild,
Yeah,
absolutely wild.
if we can get Eagles, Lions, and Bills and Chiefs, that would be a perfect
That's the best
championship.
case scenario. Perfect best case scenario. I mean, those would be two unbelievable games. Look, they got to win. It's trending that way. Players, coaches, everybody involved has to get it done on the field so that we can all get it. But what a nice championship weekend that would be. But yeah, Bucks, Panthers, Rams, Saints. Like you want to talk about mediocrity? This is the mediocrity of the NFC right here. Bucks and the Panthers. Obviously, Bucks won, and then Rams getting a much needed win over the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, Bryce Young looked good. He's definitely playing himself into the starting quarterback job next year, and probably until he loses it if he does. But I guess that's good to see from him. And
It
then Mike
is.
Evans needs like 80 yards a game to keep his streak alive to tie Jerry Rice for the most consecutive years with 1,000 yards. And he had like 100 yards in this game, so that helps. Rams, Sean McVay, 76th career regular season win for the most in franchise history. The Saints are dead. But yeah, it's like you said, mediocrity. I don't think the Rams are going to make a run here. That's
No,
really the
they're
only
not.
team that might. I guess the Bucks are still alive too, but yeah, neither of these teams is better than anyone in the North or the Commanders probably.
I don't see the Bucks getting. It's just like I have the Commanders better than all these teams, and I don't think the Commanders are going to get it done. So that's your NFC team playoff tree right there for you in terms of where they can go. But
Yeah, the
um,
issue there though is both these teams in the Bucks and the Rams could win their divisions. So
right, so they'll get the home playoff game, and the Commanders will have to travel. But yeah, the Bucks could win it, and the Rams can still win their division.
yeah, they're a game behind the Seahawks.
So it's everything's still up for grabs. It's not that it's pointless to talk about, but I just like none of these teams are going to threaten the top of the NFC. I don't see it. Like we
Yeah,
saw the Eagles barely beat the Saints 15-12, but like I just had the Eagles are so much better than that week. What was it, 3 game?
yeah, I do think the Rams are definitely that one team, probably the only team in that division that could really at least keep a game close and maybe if
Right.
things go their way, pull off an upset or two.
Yeah, and as you said in the last Sunday pod or whatever it was, the Rams were up 7-3 on the Eagles.
Yeah, they were. They had the lead in that game. And then Saquon Barkley
Right?
happened, but they had the lead.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. You mentioned Kyron Williams had 100 yards, but Alvin Kamara, 115 yards rushing, and I think only 10 receiving on 4 targets or 4 catches. So that wasn't great, but 115 or whatever rushing yards. I mean, the guy still got it. Where's he going in fantasy next year? Top 2 rounds, top 3 rounds? Is he going to fall because of age, even though he's still getting it done? Hard to
Yeah,
price him.
it's so hard to price them in fantasy next season. And you would figure the Saints try to bring in a couple receivers. Taysom Hill's probably out for most of next season. He's got a
He's
pretty
yeah, he's
bad
out
knee
for
injury.
this year, and he's probably going to miss a couple games.
So you're gonna need to bring in some kind of offensive threat. I guess they'll get Shaheed back, but like that doesn't really take away from Kamara's production, catching 2 yard passes. But He needs help. He can't. You can't make a 30. I don't know how old he's like 33 now, 32. Year old Alvin Kamara, your focal point of the
Yeah.
offense.
Well, he was this year, and by the grace of God, I guess you could call it, as he stayed healthy. But other than that, he got it done. And yeah, who would you rather have next year, Alvin Kamara or Kyron Williams?
Is neither an option?
I guess.
I, Kyron Williams, he had a good game, but it's all volume. Both of these guys are just volume monsters. Like they get
Right.
30 touches a game and finish around 100 yards.
Right.
Blake Corum has got to get a chance. Maybe he just sucks. Maybe that's why he hasn't passed Kyron Williams. But
These are the decisions you got to make in mid to late August as you're drafting your teams.
yeah, there's maybe Jarquez Hunter goes to one of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, is there? Yeah, he's the Auburn guy, right?
Yeah, and he'll probably be a day two draft pick.
Yeah. Oh, he'll definitely get a shot in the league and probably get touches early next year. So that'd be fun to see him go. And I was playing a little, I was home last week. I was playing some college football, and I did a dynasty or my player with Auburn because they were the only SEC school who
It needed a
would let me
quarterback.
start right away, and not have to sit like a year. So they were letting me start as a freshman, and Jarquez Hunter was a big focal point of the offense. So video game is about all I have to look on this guy, but it seems like he'll get his shot in the NFL. Not that that has any correlation.
He's also from Philadelphia, Mississippi, but he's from Philadelphia.
Weird how there's a town there. I'm in the logistics game, so I know all these towns across. I actually do know about that town, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? There's also another one, I think, in New York as well, upstate New York, but it might be called
That,
New Philadelphia.
that's
Dude,
ridiculous.
it's wild. It's wild. Some of the names of these towns in the country, but that's neither near here nor there. It's kind of like who cares. But the final game on the board here that we have to dice up before we wrap it up is the 49ers and the Bills. Look, snow game, snow bowl. I still think the Eagles Lions snow bowl of 2014 was better than this one, but we did get a snow bowl, and yeah, the Bills did what they should have done on their home field. I mean, the Niners came across country, night game, freezing cold, snow everywhere. I mean, they were just trying to get in and get out. Granted, they didn't do it healthy, as Christian McCaffrey probably done for the year. I
Might
would
be
keep him
done
out
for
for
his
the year.
career.
Yeah, it might be done for the career, but um, yeah. Where do the Bills go from here? Probably looking like a team to threaten the Chiefs for a Super Bowl run. Niners, I guess have life in the division since it's so bad. But yeah, really one of the probably from what I can remember, a post team that makes the Super Bowl and then just absolutely shits the bed with basically the same team coming into the next year. I know McCaffrey was out, injured, this and that, but I mean, they had the quarterback who everybody touted as Brock Purdy's elite MVP candidate, this, that, and the third. Yeah, one of the worst years post Super Bowl run that I can think of in a pretty long time.
Yeah, I know the Rams had a rough year after they won, but that was because they got rid of like every single pick they had.
Right, right. The Niners had everybody.
Yeah, the window, this is like I don't know if it's still the middle of the window, but you're still in the window if you're the Niners. And I don't know, I guess they're getting a favor here by now knowing Brock Purdy's not the guy. But this team's so weird, especially after Christian McCaffrey goes out. It's snow. Like you feel like that's a Deebo Samuel game, and they just didn't get Deebo Samuel the ball. Like George Kittle had one catch in this game. I don't know. It just the vibes are so bad with this team right now.
Should Kyle Shanahan be fired?
I I don't think they'll fire him, but it might be time to just move on and go somewhere new for him and like do one of those things where you mutually agree to part ways.
Why not Chicago?
That would be a fun fit for him. And
Fun fit, and he gets a good, fun offense to work with. The defense is there. Kyle Shanahan in Chicago, I'd be scared.
Yeah, no, that'd be a fun team for him to go to, and he could fix that running game too. Yeah, no, that's a good call. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I do too. That was the first thing I could think of was him in Chicago. Like the offense is already in place. They just need to coach. They
Yeah,
just need a coach. And I don't know. I think it'd be a good fit or a better fit than, it's not really working out in 49er land. Last year was their year to win it all. They didn't get it done. They come into this year, 2 games under 500 with, only what, 3, 4 games left. I don't even know how much is left, but can't be that much. Um,
four. Yeah.
yeah, 4 games to play. I mean, where do you go from here, right? It doesn't feel like you're really going to reset. What are you going to try and do it all over again next year after you already know what you kind of have? Seems like the shelf life has expired.
Yeah, you got to make some changes, whether that's player personnel or coaching staff changes, but you can't just try to run it back again, especially if Christian McCaffrey, because like that injury looked bad and he's coming back from the bad. He might just retire.
Yeah, look, he's made his money. He has, his stats or whatever. I think money would be the big thing of, he's kind of set for life now, I think. At what point is it really worth it to keep doing that to your body? He took his shot, went to the winning team in the 49ers. I mean, did everything to try and get it right, and it just didn't work out. And that's just sometimes how these things go.
Yeah, it
It
ultimately
just
be
didn't work out.
whatever he decides to do, but like it's doesn't seem too bright for his future.
No, and we're talking about Kyle Shanahan leaving, but why would maybe blow it all up? I know you got the rookie, or not the rookie, but the young quarterback in Brock Purdy, but how much longer are you going to deal with Debo Samuel and his antics? I mean, he's not this all-world player that everybody touts him out to be. Like he gets hurt a lot. He's a diva, prima donna, whatever you want to call him, and like he's just okay. I'm not saying like when I see him, I'm not like, oh my gosh, Debo Samuel, here's an all pro, do it all guy. He's a diva that is just okay. I mean, how much longer do you run him out there and deal with him?
Yeah, it's I don't know. Brandon Ayuk's probably gonna miss time next year too. So you might have like a whole new and Jawan
George
Jennings.
Kittle, George Kittle's well into his 30s, I think. Like, where do the Niners? I mean, they have this like they're in a weird spot because it's not like they're this playoff team. They're what 5-7.
Yeah, I don't know where you go if you're the Niners, but you gotta do something new. You can't try to run it back.
I love to see it, and it's so refreshing just having their entire fan base shut the hell up all year and sit in their Santa Clara hole or San Jose hole, wherever it is they sit out there and just sit in their holes and just keep their mouths shut because they've just been embarrassingly bad all year coming off a Super Bowl appearance, embarrassingly bad. And look, I'm here for it. I hope they blow it up because that's what they need to do, and then they'll be bad for another 4 to 5 years. Maybe the Giants will be better before they're good.
Could be, and yeah, yeah. Well, that would be wishful thinking for me at least. But yeah, rough time to be a San Francisco sports fan. You got the
It
Dodgers
really
handing out
is.
deferrals everywhere, and your football team sucks.
Yeah, and yeah, is that wait, what? That's not is that same fan base?
Yeah, they're a big rival with the Dodgers out there.
Oh, rival. Yeah, 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 yeah. I was gonna say rival for sure. I thought you meant like same fan base. I was like, either way, doesn't matter. Tough times for San Francisco, and if anything, that would be looking the best for your Pacific Northwest take. But that's the NFL recap. Quick notes: Bengals are dead. Eagles, I think, are the best team in the NFL. Seahawks are still alive. Commanders get rocking and rolling back with Jaden Daniels. The Texans looking alive. The Colts stay alive. The Chargers are looking like a possible spoiler threat in the AFC. And yeah, Giants are the Giants and the Bears are the Bears, and that's kind of all we have. Hopefully, the Chiefs can start losing, but that's all I got. Eagles are the best team. Big win. Hopefully, a bye week this week against the Panthers. Knowing that I just said that, they will lose, but we'll see what happens on Sunday. That's all I got on that. Brian along for the ride. We'll see you in a couple days in the midweek show. Houston Section 400. That's all I got. Peace.
Frankie Montas for Cy Young.